4 million unique users, and now available on demand on iTunes. I'm your host, Gary Baumgarten, coming to you live from the Dr. Pepper Arena in Frisco, Texas, just outside of Dallas, Texas, where the seniors of tennis are involved in a huge competition. I'm very close to courtside. That's why between the games you're going to hear a lot of activities in the background, but during the matches, I'm going to have to because they can hear everything I say. Otherwise, I'm actually going to have to hold my hand in front of my microphone and talk to you that way. Anyway, enough of that. This topic today, and I do not have a guest. You can be my guest. I want to know what all of you have to say about these issues. You know, we've talked about them all individually, and I want to kind of codify them so we can get a full picture of what's going on in the world today. And there are a number of tinderboxes. Let's start with the 3 I's: Israel, Iraq, and Iran. Seemingly, the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians is not abating. I just received a very interesting news story today, which indicates that they are taking children in the Gaza and they are dressing them in camouflage as if they were soldiers and giving them fake guns. And they march them out and have them play this game where they attack each other with these fake guns. This is how they are indoctrinating the youth in the Palestinian territories. Very, very unfortunate. We have Iraq, where there is, as we know, a lack of civil order. And we have Iran, where we have the United States saber-rattling, saying if Iran continues along the path that it is attempting in its attempts to get nuclear weapons, enrich their uranium program, then that would be, according to the President of the United States, leading to World War III. Then we have Pakistan, where former Prime Minister Bhutto made what was supposed to be a triumphant return yesterday, and her parade, her motorcade, her entourage was attacked by bombs. She narrowly escaped injury. Over 100 people were killed. There were scores of other casualties as well. First bombing in the history of Pakistan. That nation is getting squeezed from all sides, from Al-Qaeda and from fundamentalists internally, and from the West also externally, that's trying to keep that country a partner in the war against terrorism. And then we have the situation in Turkey, where Turkey is now preparing to invade Kurdistan, which puts the United States in a very interesting position, given the fact that the Kurds are part of Iraq, and therefore we are responsible, the United States is responsible for the protection of them, and Turkey, well, the Turks are our allies. So the question is, if you look at these various areas of the world individually, it's bad enough. If you look at it collectively, it is seemingly beyond comprehension and beyond one's ability to believe optimistically at all in there being any kind of a solution to the problems of the world. I mean, are we all just players on the stage? Are we like puppets, marionettes? And are there other people who are pulling our strings? And have we no control of the situation? Or can we as human beings have control of what's going on? Can we influence what's going on? I got to say, one would think quite naturally when one is talking about all these hotspots in the world that we would look to the United Nations for relief. And of course, what do we find in the United Nations? We have member nations that are voting based on their own country's self-interest rather than on what's best for the world as a whole, following the United Nations Charter, working together to achieve peace around the world. So I don't know. I talk about these issues. We talk about these issues all the time in this program, and sometimes, I wonder whether we're just, beating a dead horse, as the saying goes. It's not going to get up and run. because sometimes you just feel like it's out of our control. Boaz, your thoughts?
Well, beating a dead horse, and I could say a lot about that, but I won't. Anyway, getting to the issue, Gary, I feel the same way. There is, the common people really don't have control. I mean, the only time we really do have maybe some say is during voting time. That's about it, Gary. After, before voting, presidential elections, local elections, the various elections, that's really the only time that we have any say. And it shouldn't be that way, actually. I think that even after a leader is elected to a high political position, a position to make policy changes domestically and internationally, it shouldn't be where that's it. That person is in office and that's it. We have to wait 4 years in order for somebody else to be voted in. We should have more say, definitely. We don't have that say anymore. We really don't. And it seems that the general populace, at least of the United States, have become accustomed to that situation. They say, all right, let's just sit and wait 4 years or 8 years until one or other president gets out of office, and that's it. Do we have control? And it's and even less so when it comes to international affairs, Gary. Uh, you mentioned the United Nations. We all know the United Nations um, really has no influence in the world to make anything significant happen. Like, for instance, what's going on in Iran today with their nuclear program. I mean, we know that the United Nations has no influence over it. Yet everybody's screaming that we're sticking our noses into Iran's business. Well, if the United Nations did something about it, then we wouldn't have to. And obviously, the United Nations cannot. What people don't recognize today, Gary, is something that has been lost for several generations past, and going back to the 1930s and 1940s, is that you can't negotiate for everything. Not everything that you want to do to make good in the world is negotiable. Um, Hitler was not negotiable. Mussolini was not negotiable. And many other leaders in the world were not negotiable, and had to be defeated by means of military means. Today, everybody seems to want to do everything possible, even if it's insane, as long as we don't have to use military means. And this is what's getting us in trouble, Gary. This is what's getting the world in trouble, believe it or not. That may sound like a catch-22 or something ironic, but this is really what's getting us in trouble, is that even the insane things that are going on in the world today seem to be looked at as being, we can negotiate. Like, for instance, we can negotiate with terrorism. We can negotiate with Al-Qaeda, with a terrorist state like Iran. Everything is negotiable. And the more that mindset sticks, the more trouble the world's going to get into. Back to you, Gary. Thank you.
Well, one of the things that you said that really strikes me, Boaz, is that you think that it's up to the United States to solve all these problems. As an American, I'm a little weary of the United States having to be the one to solve all the problems of the world, and I know that there are a lot of people around the world who are weary of the United States' involvement